Please read the disclaimer. Holy smokus, it ain't no jokus. XRP holders, XRP is surging back today. We got news from the Secretary of Commerce about crypto. The SEC chairman is talking about crypto. We got some news from Ripple. We have a very, very green day for the crypto market. It's not just crypto, stocks are coming up too, but XRP is really the show of the day. It's interesting, it's coming off a ETF that just dropped today. We'll talk about that as well, an XRP ETF. Now, all I ask from you is that you give me a beautiful smile to send out those good vibes. Smishity smash that like button. Let's try to get 1,500 likes on this video, 1,500 likes. I know you guys can do it. I'm gonna give you a second. You can't see my phone. Okay, so currently XRP, you can't see its bubble because it's behind my head, my big noggin. Right here it is. Oh, that's technical difficulty time. XRP, right? We can see on the regular graph, and I'm gonna go back over here. That's better. XRP is up 19.74% on the day. It was actually higher. It went all the way up to 154 a few hours ago, but there has been a little bit of a pullback. You can see Bitcoin also risen here 11% back to 70,000 range, but also has pulled back. Ethereum over 2,000. And it's interesting because yesterday, when we were talking yesterday morning, XRP was around $1.44, if you remember, and we talked about how XRP was down about 7.5%. Well, now we're back to basically similar zone to where we were yesterday. We're almost having an engulfing candle here, where XRP is basically almost, the candle is already almost eaten up. When we were at the high, it ate the yesterday's candle. If we go from the bottom, right, for XRP is up. If you bought the bottom, now I don't know how many people did, but you'd be up 30% in the last 18 hours. And if you look at the high, it was a 38% movement there. So massive movements here for XRP today after yesterday. That was, a rough day. We hit, it was even worse. We talked about this morning. We hit 9 on the fear and greed index, and Brad tweeted out, and I just want to remind this again, favorite Warren Buffett quote: "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." And it seems, right, that yesterday was peak fear. We saw single digits, and today's the flippening, right? And so now today, prices got to a level that people were looking at and they're like, okay, maybe this is too low. Big money started coming in, assets started getting bought up. Strategy also, we talked about it this morning, had their earnings, and that could have been a catalyst that sent the market selling off yesterday. But, if you look at it, silver also is up from the low about 21% in the last 18 hours. And if we look at the stock market, it's doing very good today, with the NASDAQ up 1.8, almost 2%, and the S&P 500 up 1.74%, and the VIX, right, is down almost 17.5%, back to under 20. So it's not just the crypto market that's doing good. Suddenly today, the markets are feeling much better. It was like the markets were sick. They had a flu. You know how it is when you have a bad flu, a bad cold, and you think, oh my God, I'm gonna be a goner. You feel really bad. You have no energy. You have the shivers. You have fever. And then suddenly the next day you spring back. You're like, okay, I'm good. I'm everything, right? This is how the market feels kind of today. But we have to be careful with this because we could have a bull trap coming. We have seen in the past, XRP and the crypto market bounce back, have a nice movement. And, in the beginning of the year, we started out with XRP running up, and we saw a pullback off of that. We've had also, recoveries like this, even maybe this recovery here, right? But this is, a huge V-shaped recovery. We were talking about this last night and also this morning. So very, very nice movement here for XRP so far. Let's see the momentum. Let's see XRP. I know that influencers and YouTubers are going to get very, very excited about this big recovery, but I always have the monkey on my shoulder. I know that things can change. I know that things can shift. We were just in extreme fear, one digit on the fear, right? And so we have to take that into consideration. Now, what also might have been moving the XRP's price, right? Because remember, XRP fell more than the general market, and now it's popping back stronger than most of the market. Interesting, H bar is also up 20%. I didn't see yesterday. Yeah, it's even higher than it was yesterday. So interesting, right? But we did have XRP ETF that dropped today, the Bitwise XRP ETF, and 14 million. Sorry, it didn't drop today. The XRP ETF was seeing some very good returns today, up almost 20+% on the ETFs as well. So this was a very interesting situation where we're seeing the XRP ETFs be one of the strongest ETFs on the market today, right? And so that is a good thing. Lots of volume. And we talked about this morning with Tyler's tweet here about how there was an imbalance and potentially we could see the markets recover very, very fast because of that imbalance and because of the huge amount of shorts that were gathered there. And if you look, the last 24 hours, it's 1.93 billion, and it's almost half and half right now. It's 647 million on the long, 400 million on the short. Similar things with Ethereum. Short is catching up. With XRP, it's almost 50-50, right? 29 million on the long and 25 million on the short. So that's a very, very interesting situation, and both sides can get caught here. And we need to be careful, but both ways, right? We might wake up in a few hours and XRP drops 10%, or XRP could pop 10%. You have to take all of these options into consideration. Now, I just want to remind you, as always, that this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. Very, very important. If you are interested in taking advantage of the markets, right? Now's your opportunity to do so with our partner BTCC. They now have 30% deposit bonus. So if you sign up, you put in 1,000, you get 300 bonus. You put 10,000, you get 3,000, and so on and so on. 1,000,000, 300,000. But please trade responsibly, right? Leverage, we've seen. You can make a lot of money, but you can also lose a lot of money as well. So please be very careful. Link is in the description down below. I will get a commission. So if you use my link and not someone else's link for leverage trading, again, it helps out the channel. It helps us keep the lights on. Now, something else that could affected the market in a positive way was the fact that we had Secretary of Treasury that I think I said something else in the opening. I think I said not treasury. I think I said something else. Anywho, speaking and about crypto market, let's listen to what he had to say.
Now, what is your opinion about the importance of having clear rules of the road, market structure legislation in the United States?
Look, I think that it's impossible to proceed without it. We have to get this Clarity Act across the finish line, and any market participants who don't want it should move to El Salvador.
So, as a industry, what is the benefit to having this industry embedded in the U.S. economy?
Well, again, as I said, that there seem to be people who want to live in the U.S. but not have rules for this important industry, and we've got to bring safe, sound, and smart practices and the oversight of the U.S. government, but also allow for the freedom that is crypto. And I think it's a balance that is being worked out. It was worked out in the Genius Act, and I'm confident with leadership of people on both sides of the aisle that we can get clarity across the line this year.
Can you see a day when conventional banks and digital asset banking are offering the same types of products, giving each an advantage to offering a broader array of financial products to the American consumer?
I think that can happen over time, and we've actually been working with small and community banks to discuss how they can be part of the digital asset revolution also.
So I find it very interesting. He's saying, hey, if we're not going to do this and we don't have clear rules, then how are we going to, manage it? The crypto market is here. And if the rules are more clear and companies understand what the rule of the land is in other countries, aka maybe China, then they'll move there, right? And so it's very important for the US government to get Clarity Act passed. And then we had the SEC chairman also talking about the crypto world and how the US is potentially going to be the crypto capital of the world. Let's take a listen.
Stable coins and put them squarely in the banking sector. So my good friend and controller of the currency, Jonathan Gould, is working diligently on coming up with that regulatory framework for stable coins. With respect to other sorts of things, I gave a speech a few months ago delineating what we are going to be working on and coming out with here shortly is a taxonomy, so-called, as to what are digital commodities versus tokenized securities, so we can give clarity to the marketplace as to what it is, and as Chairman Selig was talking about, and the regulation.
So basically, they have to front end this. Why? Because tokenization of everything is coming. And if they don't put the correct rules out, right, they don't give a guidelines to what is a security, what's not a security, then it's going to be the Wild West. And so they're already front running this and looking at this as a positive thing for the crypto market.
Through enforcement that has so long bedeviled this whole area of financial services, even predating the whole crypto world and going back, to decades, as between, what's in the CFTC realm, what's in the SEC's realm. So there are digital commodities and digital tools and digital collectibles that we have described and will be outlining in regulation. And then we have tokenized security. So the first three clearly within the CFTC's rule remit, and then tokenized securities in the SEC's remit. So this is one of maybe the only time that a regulatory agency is voluntarily ceding clear jurisdiction to another regulatory agency. But again, we are out to harmonize the rules as between the SEC and the CFTC, giving clarity and certainty to the innovators and to investors in this particular area, so that people can develop their products in the United States rather than feel that they have to go offshore to do that. So if we can do this here in the United States under American law, I think that will be best for investors, best for the financial markets, and best for innovators, and help them save time and money.
Exactly what I just said, right? If they don't do this, then people are gonna leave. Companies are gonna leave. They'll go to the UAE. They'll go to Singapore. They'll go to maybe China if China will, allow them. So that's very important for the US to get their foot in the door and make sure that the US has clear rules, clear harmony between the government agencies, and people know the road of the land, because that's when you can operate. You can operate when you don't know what's going to happen and what the rules are. Update: Ripple releases institutional DeFi blueprint for XRP and XRPL with as settlement backbone. Ripple published its institutional DeFi roadmap February 5th, positioning XRPL as an end-to-end operating system for real-world finance, with XRP playing central role in payments, liquidity, and credit card markets. XRPL ranked among the top 10 chains for real-world assets and surpassed 1 billion in monthly stablecoin volume. And Reese, he is the Senior Executive Officer and in charge of Middle East and Africa at Ripple, says XRP is emerging as the backbone for real-world infrastructure. Take a look at the institutional DeFi roadmap below. It lays out exactly how the XRP ledger is evolving in daily use layers for institutions, with XRP powering settlement, FX, collateral, and on-chain credit, right? The foundation is set. The next wave is already here. Now, this is a very actually long article, right? And so I'll just going to read the TLDR, but if this video gets 3,000 likes, right, then I'll go over the whole thing tomorrow, because if we do this, it might take me about just half an hour talking, right? So I don't want this video to be 45 minutes because it's long, right? It's a long article and there's a lot to talk about, a lot to unpack here. So I think we'll leave it for a later date, but if you want, you can find it on Ripple's website. But the TLDR here is this. XRP's utility is growing across payment, liquidity, and credit markets. New institutional grade features. So we have MPT, permission domains. We talked about that yesterday. Lending protocol, confidential transfers are scaling use cases for tokenized assets, FX, and on-chain credit. Live tools like Credential, Token Escrow, and batch transactions bring enterprise-grade compliance and automation to on-chain workflows. The foundation for next generation of blockchain-based financial infrastructure is being built with XRP as the backbone. And it goes through here from feature set to financial infrastructure, exploring XRP utility across the ecosystem, potentially what could benefit here for payments and FX, how collateral liquidity works, crediting and financing, right? Explaining XRP economy. Actually, this might be very, very important. We'll see tomorrow or maybe next week. I'm just going to share with you now. My wife's doing an operation, not anything too crazy. She just has a hernia right from giving birth. It happens. And so she needs to fix that, but she's going to be out of commission on Monday. So I don't know how much reactive I'm going to be. We'll see. I'll try to put in videos between what's happening. I'll try to make the 2 a day. And so if you see that I'm a little bit off on the times, like what day was it? So I went with her to like the pre-surgery and I was a little bit late on the video. And people were like, Avi, why are you late on the morning video? Because my morning video is always at the same time. And the other video, or if there's maybe 3 even, they're at different times. So people were like, I listened to you in the morning and the time was off. So I'm sorry if the time's off a little bit in the next few days, because that's what's going on. And hopefully she jumps back soon. And it's a simple surgery, but let's knock on wood, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here with XRP over the weekend. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think? Do you think this is a dead cat bounce, or are we going to see the crypto market continue to recover here? And this is going to be the rally that everybody has been waiting for in the crypto market. We finally hit a bottom, and now we can see the market flourish after all the leverage, the long leverage got liquidated, and people felt like it was the end of the world. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I was feeling down last night too, because you're human after all. When you see XRP almost get to $1 after it was just, a few weeks ago at $2.60, it gives you an effect, right? $2.40. It affects you, right? When you see this happening. I was hoping that what we'd see today is something similar to this, but I'm not a prophet and I don't know exactly how things are going to play out day to day. So again, the market could still be volatile. You can see we're pulling back here. XRP is down about 6% from the high, which was about 3 hours ago. So things can continue to be volatile. Things can move very, very fast. Just be careful out there and understand the risks and rewards of, a market like this, the volatility. Think about it like this. How are you feeling today? Are you feeling a lot more elated than what you were feeling yesterday? Probably not, right? This is just how it is. This is just how our body works. But yesterday, most of us were feeling not so great, right? The depression from the minus, from the loss, is 4 times stronger than the elation of the recovery. So yes, oh, cool, recovery, yes. Oh, but you still say, oh, I want more. I want it to up, but volatile. Right. So it will be very interesting to see how this plays out. I say this is going to be very interesting a lot, right? You guys should start a game. Every time I say this is good, it's going to be very interesting. You got to take a shot. Don't forget to drop comment in the comment section, 8 for infinity and beyond. Check out the links in the description down below to BTCC if you are interested in trading the market. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.